AviationPros.com is the portal website for AMT, Airport Business, and Ground Support Worldwide magazines. Visit daily for breaking news, industry blogs, and insightful articles from our magazine's editorial team. And don't forget to sign up for our publication's daily e-newsletters. It's all at AviationPros.com.
Hello and welcome to the Aviation Pros podcast. I'm Christina Marsh, editor of Airport Business, and today I sat down with Director of Solutions Marketing and Commercialization at Sharp, Kelly Harlin, to talk about the use of artificial intelligence in airports, how it can be leveraged, and what the future looks like for data collecting at airports. Hi, Kelly. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
So before we get started here, could you just tell folks a little bit about yourself and about Sharp?
Oh, absolutely. I'm Kelly Harlin. I am Director of Solutions Marketing Commercialization for Sharp. I'm actually part of a business unit of Sharp Corporation, which is Sharp Imaging and Information Company of America, which is a business unit of the Sharp Corporation. And I manage and oversee the product lines for direct view LED, software solutions, computing, and software partnerships.
Wonderful. Well, we're here to talk about AI, artificial intelligence today,
Mhm.
and how it's being used at airports. So, um, let's talk about how is Sharp helping airports understand how AI can be used?
Yeah, it's a great topic, and we've been working on AI for quite some time. Before we were Sharp, I was part of NEC Display Solutions, and we had started working on AI solutions to help customers understand their environment using object detection, computer vision, and machine learning. And that really has evolved over time. And one of the spaces that we identified as really having a lot of opportunity to apply AI and benefit from those learnings would be the aviation transportation units. So we started working with airports, and one of the biggest challenges that we have in helping airports understand their areas is what are their pain points. And when the pandemic hit and all of the large transportation and public spaces shut down, everything the airport specifically knew about their customers and traffic flow and what was happening in their environments changed. And so we have started working directly with one airport in particular to help them understand how the movements in the airport are changing, traffic flow, how people are using their spaces. And AI can be very overwhelming. So part of it is really breaking it down into bite-sized pieces. What are your pain points? What don't you know about your environment? And then AI actually can really take care of answering those questions. So it's a very complex problem. So it's there's a lot of pieces to that answer, but that's really what we've been doing is really breaking down their pain points and helping understand what they need to know about their environment.
Yeah, absolutely. And, AI can be very overwhelming,
Hmm.
especially when you're first getting started.
Yep.
How do you help airports and advise them on where to start and figure out what's essential to have and not have?
Yeah, and that's a great question. So when we start working with our customers, especially from an airport perspective, because there are so many aspects to traffic and customers coming in and out of airports and operation, it's really understanding the basics. When we talk to the airport, everyone comes with these grand plans like, I want to understand how this experience is from the moment the customer enters the door and walks out the way through the gate. Absolutely possible, but there's building blocks that need to take place to get to that point. So part of it is we ask questions. Do you know how many people are coming in and out of your entrance and exits every day? A lot of times the answer is no. And it's the basics. It's starting with that baseline. How many people are coming in and out? What areas are they coming in and out of? What spaces are they dwelling in? And how much time are they spending in different areas of the airport? And surprisingly enough, that has really opened the eyes of, particularly one of the airports we're working with, because they didn't have that information. And they realized without understanding that, it was going to be really hard to start understanding the customer journey and understanding their environment until they really understood who was coming in and out, what time of day, where they're spending time. Those are the basic building blocks, and you have to start small.
And AI can help these airports understand these questions, right?
They can, and getting into the technology side of it, what we wanted to do was part of understanding the pain points is also understanding how do you actually deploy AI in your environment without redoing your entire infrastructure. That's part of it. So airports have a lot of cameras, and they're a perfect environment to utilize AI because they have those existing cameras and they can be used in all parts of their environment. So using your existing cameras, understanding the angles of what customers are coming in and out of, understanding those spaces, and really going about taking your existing infrastructure and starting to run those models to understand and see what's happening in your environment, and then using that within your own databases as we export our data via ABI into your own databases, building out tables, then you can start visualizing your data. And so it is, we can simplify it and it needs to be simple, and we have to use our existing infrastructure. And that's what we've really focused on, and that's been extremely helpful for the airports.
Mhm. And so we've touched on it a little bit,
Hmm.
but let's dive into it. What are
Hmm.
some of the biggest ways that you're seeing AI being used in airports?
So for the customer that we're working with now, we talked about the basics, right? Understanding customer flow in and out. As they dug into it, one of the big pain points was just from a basic perspective is bags. How many bags are going to the airport? Baggage check-in can cause a lot of friction and slowdowns and bottlenecks at the airport. So they wanted to understand how many bags were coming through the area from the time they entered into the airport and gone through TSA that probably should have been checked in or can fit in a cabin. So what we're doing with this airport in particular in the South that we're working with is helping them visualize using AI and our displays when a customer comes walking up into the area. They can actually, we can detect using our algorithm and in low like USB camera or their existing cameras, the size of that bag, and then visualize on the screen if that bag should be checked in or if it should be a cabin, and can go in the overhead. And what they're finding is, as they've been running these the last several months, is that they're now getting better understanding of where these bags as they're going through. If they're making through TSA and they're coming through all the way to the airport gate to check into the plane, but they don't fit in the overhead, that is causing a lot of friction. And it causes slowdowns with the airport and et cetera. And so that's causing some operational issues. So we're providing that information so they can then advise customers, help them take action to check their bags and improve their efficiency. And so that's just one piece, that a building block that I've talked about, where they want to actually take that then and then start working with their company that actually checks the bags to provide them with that information so they can start syncing this all together and understanding the flow of bags, all the way to the point when they actually get offloaded from the airport, how long it takes to come back into the gate and retrieve your bags at baggage collection. So bags are a big deal, and AI using detection actually is helping understand the journey and educating people about the size of bags and helping with friction.
Absolutely. So there are many ways that AI can be used and implemented in airports, and bags was just one of them.
Yes.
Um, in your opinion,
Mhm.
what ways should AI be used in airports, and what do airports really need to think about?
I think there's a lot of operational applications for AI. We are working on some gate operations applications where, from an operational perspective, to improve your operations from a plane coming into the gate, understanding how long it took to the gate, get to the gate, how long it took for the jet bridge to come out, how long it took to get the bags offloaded. Were they actually taking the safety precautions they should take? Are the blocks coming out? Do you have the right personnel out on the tarmac? So there's security, there's operations, and think about AI. Anything the human eye can see, an algorithm and data can be collected using AI machine learning, and so it can provide so much insight that humans cannot see unless they were standing there trying to collect this. You can't get all that information and understand all the things that are happening in an environment without AI. So anything from security applications to operational at the gate, understanding, is a bag sitting in an area that shouldn't be, unattended packages? Are there people going into areas in the airport that they shouldn't be going into? They're not authorized. So from the perspective of AI, again, going back and understanding, you can take a uniform from an airport and understand these uniforms and this object and this person is okay to go into these areas. We're not identifying people, we're identifying objects. So you can send alert outs if someone's going to a secure area. You can send alert outs if a bag's been sitting in an area unattended for a period of time, and that alert can go directly to a main control room, and you could deploy security. So, security, customer experience, operations, there's so much that AI can do that can be deployed in an airport to protect their customers, provide a better customer experience, and actually overall improve the transportation operational side.
So AI can help airports create a safe and secure environment. They can
Hmm.
help improve the customer experience.
Hmm.
And one thing that I found interesting in a conversation that you and I had earlier was that it actually helps airports and advertisers to
It
learn
does.
more about the travelers.
Absolutely. And that is a unique application. We thought about this from a sharp perspective in the AV industry and using digital signage. Currently, one of the biggest applications for AI is to trigger content on age and gender and traffic. And so we can do that, but we want to look a little bit further. So as you want to understand your customer and their lifestyle and inform advertisers and it's, generate revenue for the airport and the advertisers in general, is understanding your customer and understanding their age and gender doesn't necessarily tell you what products are like. You're making assumptions based on their age and gender, which, as we all know, is not everyone's not the same. So we started looking at elements of that person when they're walking by. What bag are they carrying? What logos, clothing logos are they wearing? What type of clothing are they wearing? Again, not focus on the person, but just those objects around them. What kind of cars are they driving? So one of the things we're working with the airport is they do have, they're out in the South, and I'll be able to name them later. We're still working on an agreement, but we've been working with them for months. They have a lot of very high-end customers coming in for golf tournaments and flying into the airport or renting cars or flying out of our airport. And they want to understand from Mercedes, Lexus, all these different car brands, tell them all these customers coming into our airport are driving these cars. And so they know that they have a captive audience, the advertising when they come in. They already know people that are coming in and parking their cars at the parking garage have these types of cars. And so they can actually advertise them to them as they come into the airport based on that knowledge. And then the airport can provide that feedback back to the advertisers, and that generates a really nice revenue stream for them. And there is some, ROI on the investment they're making with advertising based on understanding the customers coming in.
So based on these trends, and the ways that you're seeing AI being utilized at airports, in your opinion, what does that tell us about the future of AI for airports?
As I think about the future and as we talk to our customers at the airports, they really have some grand visions that we absolutely can attain with AI. As I mentioned, kind of thinking about the customer experience. One day, depending on all the objects that you're understanding around these people coming in, being able to understand how long it's taking somebody to get all the way through the airport, where they're going, what they're doing. Our challenge and what we have decided to move forward is just using object detection, not facial recognition. So there's a lot of different ways to deploy AI and the elements that you want to use. You can do anything and detect anything, but there has to be a use case for it. And so I would say for the airports, a lot of additional security improvements could be gathered in operational improvements and understanding as their environment changes, understanding how to react to those. Um, Building out better customer experiences. The airport we're working in, it's building a new terminal. So they're spending this time with us gathering data on how their two existing terminals are being used so they can inform the best experience for placement of displays and any kind of consumer goods that they need to sell or food courts, et cetera, based on the details that they're getting from the data we're providing. So really the future for airports is building better spaces and building better customer experiences that are more secure. And I think those are trends that are always going to be applicable. And AI helps you understand how your environment's changing so you can actually build these things and have the right data and be successful and do iterations and evolve your experiences and your operations and your security over time.
Something that you had said to me earlier that really stuck with me, was that airports have a leg up in data collecting
Hmm.
because they need to be very in tuned with their travelers, with the security. They need to
Hmm.
know as much as they possibly can to create this smooth operating environment. And
Hmm.
that provides them with this future that's wide open for just improvement in
Hmm.
AI data collecting.
and it sets them up for more success than maybe other industries that are kind of just getting started with AI.
hmm That is correct. And I think there's so much data available from so many sources within an airport where where you need to be focused from an airport perspective is taking it use case by use case, understanding the data you have, and then outlining your problems, and then applying that data to solve those problems. So again, it goes back to data being overwhelming, and airports have a tremendous amount of data. So breaking them up into your use case and your pain points, and then you can actually grab that data that you're collecting and create and visualize the data that will help you make those decisions. And so airports absolutely have a leg up. They have the infrastructure, they have the existing technology, they have the actual data collection sites set up and ready to go. So having a really strong plan about where they want to go, where they want to start, and what are their pain points, their use cases, and the why. Why do they want this information and how are they going to use it is extremely important.
Absolutely. And because they have this existing infrastructure in many cases, I would think that that would also help with the expense too of getting started with AI.
It absolutely does. And the way, as we think about what we've done at Sharp is, and there are certainly other solutions doing this. And I think what's really important is that it is taking the existing cameras or servers that they have and their data infrastructure and architecture to deploy these solutions. And we can deploy on, Windows, any kind of operating system. As we evolve this, we actually have the ability to customize these solutions. We're using the existing IP cameras at the airport. We can use USB cameras. We can use their security CCTV cameras. The resolution is important, so that's why use cases are important, but they have that there and it lowers the expense greatly. You can run multiple cameras on a server. They can create their own dashboards. We can just provide the data, the clean data. So there's so much there that if done the right way, they can utilize their existing infrastructure and really cut costs.
Well, Kelly, I want to thank you for joining me today and talking to me about this. Um, there is so much that we could talk about in terms of AI. And I know that you are working with an airport in the
hmm
South,
hmm
and it sounds like we're going to have you back on when we can talk about that further and talk about some of those exciting projects happening there too.
That would be great. And they've agreed to do some case studies with us so we can share some case studies. And we do have a multi-year agreement with them to build out and roadmap their AI. And so we're working on gate operations. We've already deployed the baggage collection and the baggage detection side of it. And so there'll be a lot more to share that we'd be happy to share that I think would be extremely valuable.
Thanks again for listening to today's podcast. Stay up to date on industry news, current issues, and information specifically for airports, airport operations, FBOs, and airport-based business by subscribing to Airport Business Daily Newsletter. And as always, please continue to visit AviationPros.com.